Thank you, antivirus, for doing that while I was recording. It decided that it would like to give me a pop-up to let me know that the virus database signature database has been updated to its latest version, but while it was telling me this, it decided to stop my recording without me knowing, and what this meant was that I talked for about 2 or 3 minutes before noticing that the progress bar wasn't actually going any further or any way down at all. So I was basically talking to nothing. I'm not even giving you my intro now because I already feel like I've done it, and I did it quite well. But welcome to my New Game Plus 2 Soul Level 6 playthrough of Demon's Souls, taking no damage with melee only. This is the Tower of Latria Part 2, so this is 3-2, and the boss of this world is this part of the world is the MANEATERS, rather. And right now, this is the journey, so that there are 2 objectives for this part of the level. You have to cut the 2 chains that are keeping the heart of the Tower of Latria suspended, and you have to do this because the heart is actually, one of its tentacles is like blocking the way up to fighting the MANEATERS, so you're doing all of this going around this entire level just to basically move one obstacle in your way. And this went so well. This entire level went so fantastically well, because this was all one take. This was all my first try. It was fantastic, and I knew what to do. It was one of those moments when you're gaming and you've done something before, and it was just this, like, I know how to get shit done, let me get shit done. So you just go and do it. And I went into this with like that amazing mindset that you get like after you've been gaming for a little while, because I think I did a couple of these worlds actually all in one go, and I decided to do the Tower of Latria as well because I was feeling good and I was in the mood and I was on the ball at that moment, and I was just thinking, yep, I'm gonna get this done. This is gonna be done fantastically. This is gonna be fine. And it did get done fine, which was amazing, because never has the Tower of Latria Part 2 gone this smoothly for me. I always die here. I died more in the Tower of Latria Part 2 when I was only using my lava bow, which is sad, because I have to... It's sad and it's a good thing. It's a happy thing, because if you realize that you were taking the easy way out before and still dying more than you are now, then the logical conclusion is that you have actually gotten better, which is what I was talking about in episode 9 or 10 of the previous run, where I was saying I would like to do a melee only run because I feel that I would get legitimately better at the game rather than letting the numbers of my bow do all the work. And I think I really did, and that was happy. And that was happy. I was happy because that happened. So now what I just did was freed Yurt, and I didn't actually interact with Yurt much in this game. I wanted to kill him, but I had this horrible feeling that if I killed him, and mind you, at this point I had killed every last one of the Black Phantoms in the game. I didn't know if killing Yurt would affect my character tendency, so I just flatly decided not to do it at all. So right now we are heading down towards the second part of the chains, and this, like the first part of the Tower of Latria Part 2 isn't that bad. It's not that bad. You can actually just run past everything if you want to. But the second part down here in the swamps is a lot harder. And I apologize again, because this is the same session as before, if you can hear these fucking birds. And I also apologize for using such strong language, but I'm feeling quite passionate and angry today, so this is just how it's going to go. And yeah, you can actually run past a lot of things in these games, as we all know, if you've watched any sort of speedrun, because I watched I think it's a 56-minute Demon's Souls speedrun, and holy crap, did that guy run past everything. Like, legendary slayer of demons. And I think the top comment on that video was, thank you, Slayer of Demons, for ridding the world of evil the main evil, all the bosses at the end of the world, and he just like left everything else untouched. So all the other evil in the world was still there, but at least the main bosses were cleared. And this is the first Black Phantom enemy here, and this is Tower of Latria Part 2 is actually quite fond of these big I don't know what they're called. They're almost like caterpillars or scorpions or something, but they got these weird demented human faces on them. And see, you've got another Black Phantom one up there, and right here I wasn't very careful, and I didn't take care enough to stop the two of these idiots getting aggroed at once. So I decided to run away, and because this is either, depending on how you look at it, it's a kind of a cowardly way to handle it, or it's a tactical way to handle it. Because if I had stayed and I had fought by myself, with my shield up and my S-stock out, I probably would have gotten overwhelmed, because 2 attacks and getting hit by something and then probably getting hit by the other enemy as well would mean that my guard would likely be broken, and then I'd have to do all of this again. And I just wasn't willing to, because things were going so well, things were going fantastically, so I decided just not to in the end. And see, I've managed to draw the aggro of this single guy, and these enemies are kind of weird. They're the only enemy in the game like this, where if you get them down to once you get them down, see, pure mercury stone. I see, this is me just like being a little bit stunned, because I don't know how rare the drop is, but in pure Black World Tendency I didn't feel like it was very rare, because in this single run I got 3 pure mercury stone drops, and that was amazing to me, because I mean, like, you get pure mercury stone from the Valley of Defilement boss, like the final boss room with Maiden Astraea. Like, if you look around, you can actually pick up 3 different pure upgrade materials, which is fantastic, and one of them's pure mercury stone. But if I wanted to make any other pure mercury stone, damn, I'd be able to, because I got 3 of the damn things. What I had trouble running into were chunks of mercury stone. It took me ages to farm in order to make that mercury weapon. And this guy's dangerous. He does the well, I have a feeling that he'd be dangerous, but what I do here is, because the shield perk animation is so stable, and like, the reason I use it is not really because it blocks any damage that could be taken, because when you attack something in Demon Souls, because nothing has poise, and unless they have hyper armor attacks, if you attack them, then they flinch, so you have no danger of being attacked while you're shielding like that. But what's good about this one is that, because the attacks come fairly quickly, what's great is that your character doesn't move. Like with the other attacks with the S-stock, they shift forward on the feet, and it all looks very dynamic and fancy and everything, and but if you move forward sometimes while you're fighting these enemies, it can change how they behave. And with those enemies, if I move just to the right or to the left a little bit, I can make them flinch 3 or 4 times in a row with that attack, and not risk moving myself accidentally into harm's way. And these guys I thought would be a problem, but then I realised that they do actually turn back around and start walking back up the stairs, so all I had to do was run up and backstab it. And waiting up around the corner here is another one of those scorpion dudes with the heads on them, and this is one of those cheap shot moments where he's just hiding around a corner. And what I hope to do with these enemies is wait for that scorpion tail attack, and then head round to their side. And thankfully I have just enough stamina and just enough damage with this weapon in order to get a good kill on these enemies in 3 to 4 hits, if they're not the Black Phantom versions. The Black Phantom versions are quite a lot more difficult to handle. And see, look, he just jumped forward and he broke my guard then. That was a really, like, crap your pants moment. And that attack that he's just done there, that is a cloud attack that I don't think does any damage, but it does durability damage, and it does a lot of durability damage. Like, if I'd been close and I had the Storm Ruler on me, and I don't think I do now because I have the Dragon Longsword and my other slot, but if I had the Storm Ruler on me, if I stood in that cloud for like half a second, the Storm Ruler would be broken. Because I remember my when I wore the silver bracelet in my first playthrough, when one of those enemies did the when it did the the acid cloud attack, my silver bracelets broke really quickly, and that was that was quite disappointing. But it didn't affect their passive effect. If you didn't know, the silver bracelets, which is a female only section of armor from Demon Souls, it increased the amount of souls you got by 20%, which was useful if you're on a low level playthrough and you just needed that amount of souls for, you know, buying arrows, you know, just as an example. And yeah, so this is one of the very last enemies on the way to the second part to release the heart. And this crystal lizard I had never managed to get, I don't think, except for on my level 150, because I had the Dragon Bone Smasher, and the running attack on that is glorious. It's fantastic. And you've just got this one Black Phantom here that you may or not be able to see, that I'm trying to lock onto. But I'm just trying to aggro it now with fire bombs, because as soon as, just on the right, like you can see this bit of concrete here. I'm doing hand motions and everything. You can see this bit of construction just on the right, and around the corner there's a flying demon with a crossbow, which is evil. It is so evil, because if you're not expecting it to be there and you're being really cautious, because obviously you can see glowing eyes in the distance and everything, then your first instinct isn't going to be to run. And if you hear a noise like the sound of a crossbow going off, then your first instinct might be to just jump off the edge, or, you know, to roll, or panic roll, or turn around or something. And you may not even guard at that point. See, another pure mercury stone. There we go. That's number 2 of 3. And this is, yeah. So see, this is what I learned, is that you don't do anything. You don't acknowledge it. You just run. And I think here I stopped for a bit to take care of those guys, because I can't have them interfering with how I do this level. And no, fuck, I just kept running, and I slowed it down as well. And that is one of those moments, like, if it does not matter who was with me, if my grandmother was with me, my lovely 73-year-old grandma was in the room with me, I would have said fuck as loudly as I did when that happened there, when I was by myself, as if she was with me, because Jesus, the level had gone so perfectly up until then. I hadn't even died yet, and I was feeling fine. And then my second attempt to get to this place, I died on one of the red phantom caterpillar scorpion dudes, and god, this elevator takes a while to get here. I was so broken hearted, just kind of like, no, this was going so well, this would have been fantastic to put up on YouTube, because I don't have a perfect run to any point of the map, you know, in any of my guides, in any of my videos at the moment. And holy shit, did I just narrowly dodge that attack then. So just at the moment I seem to be just ignoring the fact that that guy even existed, and just hoping that he doesn't get up here before the movie starts, because I have to smack these guys, and then eventually, here we go, yep, cutscene starts, and I cannot express how like, I think I heard the controller creak and squeak a little bit when that happened, because I was like, fuck. And by the way, for the more sensitive of you out there, or, you know, just people that don't really like hearing it, I'm sorry that I curse quite a bit. It's unfortunate. I agree that it is just a part of my vocabulary, but it just happens normally. Like, I don't set out to offend anyone when I curse. It's just, this is just me. This is how I talk, and this is how I find I can put emphasis on some of my words. So that's just why I swear. And I've been trying to cut down a little bit on it, but I do realize that even necessarily when I'm not trying to add emphasis to some of my my words, I can just tend to say like, fuck this, fuck that, just that kind of thing. And this, I don't mean to do it, but at the same time I can't really stop it. But there we go. So after you've done that, you can just drop down, and where you drop down after dropping the entire heart is actually the first pathway you ever go on in 3-2. See, if you recognize this corner, this is just a staircase that leads up, and usually you just have to take the sharp left and head towards the first part of the heart, like the chains. But now that the heart is gone, and I've explained before that the tentacle was usually blocking it before. Now I can just I think I stopped to take a drink then or something, and now the tentacle's gone. You can just go up these stairs, and the only enemy in your way is a Black Phantom octopus guard, which until this point had only appeared one other time. In my old run right here, this is where I would have pulled out the lava bow and have been all cheeky and been... with the lava bow, actually, I think it's a little bit more dangerous to do this way, because sometimes I'd shoot off around and hit the enemy, and then it'd flinch a little bit, and if I hadn't hit the R1 right away to launch another arrow, and it sort of adjusted for maybe how much it would have flinched to the side, then there was a chance that it had a chance to recover between being able to actually see me and shoot at me, because obviously, even though this might be beyond their normal aggro range, once you hit an enemy with an arrow, if they have a ranged attack, they will usually know exactly where you are, and because enemy ranged attacks in this game home in on you, it can be really dangerous. And because again, those soul arrows that the octopus guys fire at you are quite fast, like they cross distance really fast, it can be very hard to avoid them, especially if you're in aiming mode and you don't know exactly where you can roll, and sometimes you just, instead of rolling left against the railing and being safe, you roll right off the staircase and then you end up dying anyway. So here are the man-eaters, and man-eaters I expressed some concern with in my Flame Lurker video, because I don't believe the man-eaters are a very fair boss, and I think they're a good boss. I don't think they're very fair. And the distinction between that is that the boss has the potential to be a complete dick about everything, because if I don't know if I really show it here, but yeah, oh, here we go. Yeah, the man-eater just flying up into the air. He did not come down a single time. All he did was spam magic, and that ranged attack that looks like he's splitting the air in half. And oh, this dickhead, it's like every time he'd land, he'd walk off the edge and then fly up and fly away, and you have to keep the camera on him, because if you lock onto him and try to follow him, then he eventually flies out of lock-on distance, and if you get used to just following with the lock-on, then suddenly you don't know where he is, and that's very dangerous. That is so... because look at this, look how frustrating this is. And the man-eater will just fly around, and he'll fly around until his buddy shows up, because there is a timer. There is a timer between how long the first one and the second one will show up. And you see, I avoided the magic attack, but then I just ran off the edge. And I think a good feature of this boss, another part that makes it good, is the fact that you can actually cut off their tail, and that cutting off their tail prevents them from doing that magic attack. Although, unfortunately, it doesn't prevent you from being able to be headbutted or punched in the face so hard that you get crunched into the ground. And here we have, I think, I don't know. Alright, so this is the fight against the man-eaters, and I love this fight, actually. It's not very fair, and I do have my problems with it, but it's so good, because you have the chance to really practice your invulnerability frames, because you have to budget attacks, because there's like a time limit between how soon the next man-eater will pop up. It's like this race against time to see how quickly and how efficiently you can take care of these bosses, because if you don't take care of them efficiently, then chances are the game's going to want to fuck you soon. You know, it's going to say pull down your pants because there's another Maneater coming up right behind you. And handling 2 Maneaters is worse than handling 1, obviously. And the second Maneater is kind of strange because I think he's kind of programmed to walk around a little bit. This Maneater is kind of strange. He reacted kind of strangely because he's not moving. He's not moving around too much. I mean, he does fly off, and he does occasionally do the little headbutt attack. But when he lands, sometimes he stays pretty stationary for the most part. Because look at it, he just like walked forward a little bit, and I'm very lucky that I didn't get hit by that headbutt attack. And right then, that was a tooting my own horn a little bit. That was a very good dodge on my part, because if I didn't dodge right then, I probably would have been hit by it. And this is the part of the match, because it's Maneaters and because it's so easy to die, because yeah, you're just waiting for that final chance, and thankfully enough he didn't come down and immediately spam like magic or anything like that, and I managed to get the double R2 off, which is so fast, and do about 1400 damage and kill him. And that was a product of about maybe 2 hours fighting them, and I was pretty happy with that. I was actually pretty happy with that. It took a long time, but at the same time I felt like I was getting a little bit better at Maneaters, but at the same time I was getting kind of angry because, as I mentioned before, I don't think they're a very fair boss. I think they're a good boss. I don't think they're a very, very fair boss, because they have the potential to do whatever they want and basically fuck the player. And bosses that are good, that you should be able to be expected to beat a boss if you have the skill to do it. It is a test of your skills that you have learned in the game up until that point. It is an exam, it is a test. And once you get to a boss and suddenly you can't do anything about the fact that it decides to fly away and be invincible and wait out this invisible timer that it has going on the fight before another one shows up, it's not fair. It's not fair. I think I've harped on this point enough at this point. So, in my last run, I don't think you got to see this cutscene where the old monk is summoning a fighter for him, and I have never done this online, and I wish I had, but I think whenever I've tried, you can see the battery for controller 1 is low. Connect the controller using a USB or replace the battery. Yeah, thank you PlayStation for ruining the nice little cutscene I had there. But yeah, this Maneater, I'm getting a bit distracted. I'm still thinking about the Maneaters, because this boss fight would be so cool if I had someone to play against. But I didn't really have someone to play against, and every other challenge run I'd ever seen of this boss has been against the offline opponent, because obviously there are patterns you can learn to take advantage of and everything, and there's no, well, what if the person you're fighting just let you win, that kind of a thing, because depending on how good your opponent is, or how merciful they may or may not be, then fighting the old monk can either be extremely easy or it can be extremely hard, because obviously you have lag and latency as well, and I don't think latency should be something that you test in a challenge run, so this is another reason why we do it offline. And also, doing it offline means that world tendency isn't affected by the global servers, because I think everyone's world tendency kind of affects everyone else's for some reason. I'm not really a fan of it, but it's cool to see how it was integrated. This section here with activating hyper mode, it can be so finicky, because these enemies, you need them to do a specific set of attacks, or use one attack twice, or use one attack, and then another attack, like a different one, in order to get down right into hyper mode, because otherwise you end up just outside of it, or just above it. So just above it, or you end up dead, which is obviously not preferable. And this is why Old Monk wasn't necessarily... I like the Old Monk fight. I think it's kind of fun playing against a humanoid opponent, but playing against... the only reason this was frustrating was because activating hyper mode to get up here is so finicky. And it's lovely that you also have to face these Black Phantom octopus guys in a very small, very confined space. But I think the strategy that I managed to work out was to attract them by hitting the wall. I think we'll see up here in a second. I'll be a little bit quiet. Gasp. See right here. Not gonna do it. He's not having it. He's still not having it. There we go. He suddenly heard it. It crossed within his earshot. So he's just moved forward a bit and he's gone. I wonder what made. Must have been the wind. Oh shit! The wind is really attacking me. And right here, I think I had a crystal lizard the last time I looked here, and I got a pure moonlight stone, which was great because I was able to do my trophy for that, but not this time. And see, the strategy I had with the old monk this time was just to use the storm ruler, knock him away. Obviously avoiding the annoying magic attacks, but I guess the magic attacks are there to make sure that you don't incredibly, like, always cheese this dude. But, see, he just did the uppercut attack, but I was way too far away to capitalize on it. And I wanted to make this different to how I pursued this fight in the old run, because in the old run I did this by just waiting for him to do that uppercut, then running in with the dragon longsword and spamming the attack button. But with this method, I think it's a little more visually interesting too, because you get the storm roll and you knock them flying, which I'll never ever get tired of. And all his magic then just tried to spawn, but because he was on the ground, it'll hit the floor and end up dying. So there we go. There's the old monk down. It didn't take very many attempts at all. I think there was only one failed attempt before that, which I didn't want to show you because I ran in and I died. So there we go. That was actually 3-2 and 3-3. Which means that we are done with the Tower of Latria, which means that we only have 1-3, or Boletarian Palace, and 1-4 to go, which is the end of Boletarian Palace and effectively the end of the game, at least before you go and, spoiler alert, go and fight the real King Alan inside the old one. And I wouldn't even really call that a real fight, apart from the fact that I did actually die during it, so. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.